They say some secrets are worth dying for. I learned that night that some secrets are worth living for. Even if living means belonging to the most dangerous man in the city. The question that haunted me wasn't whether Mafia Boss Sebastian would protect me. It was whether I could survive what his protection would cost me. Lauren had always believed danger announced itself with noise. She learned that Thursday night that sometimes it arrives in perfect silence. 11:47 p.m. The architectural firm was supposed to be empty. Lauren was gathering her things after another late night when she heard the elevator moving to floor 9, the gutted renovation floor where no one should be. She should have left. Should have grabbed her coat and walked away. But curiosity had always been Lauren's curse. The same curiosity that had led her into relationships with dangerous men. The kind that had taught her to recognize threats by their texture, not their volume. She moved to the stairwell, eased down to floor 9. Through gaps in the temporary walls, she saw them 5 men in expensive suits surrounding duffel bags filled with more money than she'd ever seen. This wasn't construction. This was a transaction. The kind that never appeared on any ledger. The waterfront project she'd been working on had been fast-tracked suspiciously through city council. Now she understood why. She was backing away when her foot found something in the darkness, metal scraping concrete. Every head turned. Every pair of eyes locked on the shadows where she stood frozen. "We have a visitor," one of them said calmly. That made it worse somehow. Lauren ran. Behind her, expensive shoes moved with purposeful confidence across concrete. These men didn't need to run. They already knew how this would end. She burst into her office, grabbed her phone. Her thumb hovered over the security panic button when a voice came from behind her. "I wouldn't do that if I were you." Marcus Delacroix stood in her doorway. Silver-haired, cold-eyed, carrying himself with the confidence of someone who always won. "You saw something you shouldn't have," he said. "That creates a problem." "I didn't see anything. I was just..." "Don't insult both of us. You saw. You know what you saw. And now we discuss what happens next." Lauren's heart hammered against her ribs. "I won't tell anyone. Belief isn't enough in this business. We need insurance. We need leverage." Marcus catalogued her office with casual interest. Lauren Mitchell, 29. No family. No serious relationships. You live alone. Work late. Keep to yourself. Each fact felt like a hand closing around her throat. "I know where you live," Marcus continued pleasantly. "Where you buy your coffee. The route you take to work. In our world, information is currency. And you just became very expensive." He placed a business card on her desk, white, plain, just a phone number. "When I call, you answer. When I need something, you provide it. In exchange, you keep living your quiet little life." He moved toward the door. "And Lauren? Don't think about going to the police. Half of them are on our payroll. The other half know better than to get involved. You're alone in this." After he left, Lauren stood frozen. The card sat on her desk like a coiled snake. She thought about pressing that panic button anyway. But who would believe her? And even if they did, what then? She picked up the card with shaking fingers and slipped it into her wallet. That night, her phone buzzed at 3:47 a.m. Unknown number. "Sleep well, Lauren. Tomorrow is the first day of your new understanding." They'd known she was awake. Were they watching her now? Lauren didn't sleep. She sat by her window watching the city, understanding that her life had just been divided into before and after. Before she'd witnessed something she shouldn't have. After she'd become trapped by that knowledge. The call came 1 week later. Monday morning, 7:15 a.m. "Hello, Lauren." Marcus's voice was calm. "I need you to make some modifications to the waterfront project. Structural assessments that favor certain properties. Minor changes to access points. That's fraud. It's survival. And it's not optional." The line went dead. Lauren stared at her coffee going cold. She'd become exactly what she'd always feared, complicit in darkness she couldn't escape. That's how it started. One compromise. One small modification that shifted millions of dollars from legitimate businesses to Marcus's associates. She told herself it was temporary. Just until she figured out what to do. But the calls kept coming. Every 2 weeks, Marcus demanded something new. Each time, Lauren complied. Each time she felt herself becoming someone she didn't recognize. 3 months after that Thursday night, Lauren barely recognized her reflection. Same ponytail, same professional wardrobe, but something in her eyes had changed. Something had dimmed. Or sharpened. She couldn't tell anymore. She was working late history repeating itself when her personal phone rang. Not Marcus. A different voice. Deeper. Lauren Mitchell? Who is this? Someone who knows what Marcus Delacroix has you doing. And someone who wants to discuss whether you're in as deep as you think you are. Lauren's blood went cold. Floor 9. Thursday, 11:47 p.m. You witnessed a transaction. Since then, you've been making modifications to the waterfront project under duress. Accurate? She couldn't breathe. Meet me tomorrow night. 10 p.m. Meridian Hotel. Bar on the 32nd floor. Come alone. Tell no one. And Lauren? Don't bring the phone Marcus gave you. His reach isn't as long as he's convinced you it is. The line went dead. This could be a test. Marcus checking her loyalty. Or it could be someone else. Someone who might be worse. But Lauren was tired of living in fear. Tired of not knowing who owned her life. She'd go. She'd see what this was. Because the only thing worse than making a terrible decision was living forever with the uncertainty of never knowing what might have happened if she'd chosen differently. Friday night at the Meridian Hotel felt surreal. Lauren arrived early, checking exits, understanding escape routes. The Sky Bar on the 32nd floor was elegant floor-to-ceiling windows. The city sprawled below like scattered jewels. In the far corner sat a man alone, dark hair silvered at temples. Early 40s. Features that would be handsome if they weren't so carefully controlled. Eyes the color of smoke or steel or winter. She approached. He looked up, and Lauren felt something shift in her chest. This man was infinitely more dangerous than Marcus Delacroix. Lauren Mitchell. His voice was the one from the phone, deep, certain. Thank you for coming. I didn't have much choice. You knew where to find me. Sit. Not a request. We have things to discuss. Lauren remained standing. I'd prefer to know who I'm talking to first. A ghost of amusement flickered across his face. My name is Sebastian. I'm sure Marcus mentioned me. Or perhaps he was smart enough to keep my name out of his mouth. Mafia Boss Sebastian, she said quietly, testing the words. That's what some people call me. He gestured to the chair. Are you going to make this difficult, or are we going to have a conversation? Lauren sat, partly because her legs were unsteady, partly because she recognized this wasn't negotiable. Marcus works for you. Marcus works for himself. As do I occasionally, our interests align. More often, they don't. A waiter appeared. Sebastian didn't look at him. She have a Manhattan. Rye, not bourbon. 2 cherries. Lauren stared. How did you know your drink? I make it my business to know things about people who interest me. You've been on my radar for 3 months, Lauren. Since the night you witnessed something you shouldn't have. The Manhattan arrived. Lauren didn't touch it. I know what Marcus has been making you do, Sebastian continued. And I know you've been complying because you believe you have no other choice. I'm here to tell you that you're wrong. If you know what he's been doing, why haven't you stopped him? Because until tonight, I wasn't sure you were worth the trouble. His bluntness was almost refreshing. Marcus is useful to me in certain capacities. You're a civilian who made a mistake. The equation seemed simple. And now? Now I've reviewed the modifications you've been making. What Marcus is asking you to do isn't just corrupt. It's structurally unsound. Which means people are going to die when those buildings fail. The words hit like cold water. What? The foundation adjustments you've been approving. They compromise structural integrity. Did you not realize that? She hadn't looked at the larger pattern. Hadn't seen how individual modifications, taken together, created disaster waiting to happen. I'm an architect. I would never. You already have. Whether you intended to or not. Marcus has been using your expertise to sign off on projects that will kill people. And when they do, you'll be the one held responsible. Lauren felt sick. The question is what you're going to do about it, Sebastian said. What can I do? If I go to the authorities, you'll be arrested within hours. Marcus has enough documentation of your cooperation to ensure you take the fall while he walks away clean. Going public isn't an option. Then what? You work for me now. The words dropped between them like stones. No. Absolutely not. I'm not trading one criminal for another. You're not trading anything. You're accepting reality. Sebastian's eyes never left hers. Marcus has made you complicit in manslaughter. I'm offering you a way to fix that before bodies start dropping. The fact that it benefits me is incidental. He leaned forward. I want you to fix what Marcus made you break. I want those modifications reversed. I want structural integrity restored. And I want documentation proving Marcus ordered the changes, not you. He'll kill me if I do that. He'll try. That's why you're going to do it under my protection. Why would I trust you more than I trust him? Because I'm not asking you to trust me. I'm telling you that you have two choices. Continue working for Marcus until the inevitable happens and you're destroyed by it. Or work with me to correct what's been done, after which you walk away clean. And if I refuse, then I'll leak everything to the media. Your involvement, his involvement, the structural failures. All of it. You'll be ruined, and Marcus will likely have you killed for the exposure. Sebastian delivered this with the flat affect of someone reading weather reports. But if you cooperate, I'll make sure the corrections happen quietly. Marcus will think you're still working for him until it's too late. And when everything's fixed, you disappear from this entirely. New job, new city if you want. New identity if you need it. Lauren looked at the Manhattan. 2 cherries. Her preferred drink. How do I know you're not lying? You don't, but consider the alternative. Marcus is playing a game that ends with your death or imprisonment. I'm playing a longer game that ends with you alive and free. Even if you don't trust my motivations, trust my self-interest. He pulled out a phone sleek, clearly customized, and slid it across the table. Encrypted. Untraceable. Marcus's people are monitoring your regular phone. They can't know this one exists. Lauren stared at the device. The only way you walk away from this is through it. Sebastian said quietly. Fix what Marcus broke. Let me deal with Marcus. Then you're free. She should refuse, should walk away. But there was no third option. She'd learned that 3 months ago. Lauren picked up the phone. How do I reach you? You don't. I'll reach you. If you're enjoying this story and want to see how Lauren and Mafia Boss Sebastian's dangerous connection unfolds, make sure to subscribe to the channel. New stories every week about the thin line between danger and desire. Monday morning, Lauren requested additional site assessments for the waterfront project. Generated paperwork justifying deeper investigation. Creating cover to review everything Marcus had forced through. Marcus called Tuesday. The delays you've created have made me nervous. I'm starting to wonder if you're creating problems deliberately. I'm doing my job. Making sure buildings don't fall down. Your job is to do what I tell you. His voice hardened. That was our arrangement. If those buildings collapse, then we'll deal with it when it happens. But right now, I need you to stop stalling. He paused. You have until Friday to approve the new residential project. No more excuses. Friday came. Lauren hadn't approved anything. She'd spent the week documenting everything Marcus's modifications, the structural failures they'd create, the evidence trail that proved coercion. Her phone rang. Marcus. My office, tonight, 8 p.m. We need to discuss your cooperation. Not a public space this time. His territory, where he controlled everything. Lauren pulled out Sebastian's phone. Marcus wants a meeting. His office, 8 p.m. Response. Go. I'll have people nearby. If anything happens, 3 quick presses of the power button. That night, Lauren walked into Marcus's office building with both phones in her pocket. The elevator rose to 15. Marcus was waiting in the hallway. Lauren? Punctual as always. He led her to his office, heavy furniture, dark wood, designed to intimidate. Sit. I'm fine standing. I said sit. His voice turned cold. We're going to be here a while. Lauren sat, kept her bag on her lap, felt Sebastian's phone like a lifeline. I've been reviewing your recent work, Marcus said. The delays, the additional assessments. The concerns about structural integrity, those are legitimate. They're obstacles. And I'm starting to wonder if you're creating them deliberately. I can't approve modifications that will kill people. Your job is compliance, darling. The morality of it is your problem, not mine. Marcus stood, moved around the desk. Close. Too close. You've been cooperative for 3 months. I'd hate for that to end because you suddenly developed a conscience. He was inches away now. Lauren could see the cold calculation in his eyes. I have your complete cooperation, he said quietly, reaching out to touch her shoulder. Or I have your complete destruction. Do you understand? Lauren stood abruptly, moved away. I'll review the documents tonight. You'll approve them tonight. I'll expect signed papers by 8 a.m. He smiled without warmth. And Lauren? If you're thinking about running, remember that I know where you live. You're not as protected as you hope. Outside, 4 blocks away, Lauren pulled out Sebastian's phone with shaking hands. He's threatening me. Directly. Touched me. Wants approvals by tomorrow morning. Response. Stay there. I'm sending a car. 5 minutes later, a gray sedan appeared. The driver, a professional woman named Elena, took Lauren to a penthouse apartment she didn't recognize. Sebastian was waiting. He took one look at her face and his expression hardened. What did he do? Threatened me. Touched me. Made it clear that if I don't approve his projects, he'll make good on all his threats. Sebastian poured 2 whiskeys without asking. Handed her one. Drink. She did. The burn was grounding. You're staying here tonight. This apartment is secure. Marcus doesn't know about it. Sebastian set down his glass. Lauren, Marcus crossed a line. He put his hands on you. That changes things. Changes them how? It means I'm moving up my timeline. He was supposed to have 2 more weeks. Now he has 1. The casual way Sebastian discussed Marcus's fate should have horrified her. Instead, Lauren felt grim satisfaction. What do I need to do? Send him modified approvals in the morning. Ones that look right but include contingencies. My team will help prepare them. Sebastian moved closer. And for the next week, you don't go anywhere alone. My people will watch you. You don't meet Marcus in private again. Why are you doing this? Really? Sebastian looked at her for a long moment. Because I recognize someone caught in a situation they didn't choose. And because letting Marcus break you would be wasteful. You're intelligent, competent, capable of more than either. Marcus or you realize, watching that get destroyed would be wasteful. I don't like waste. It wasn't affection. But coming from a man who measured everything in utility, it felt like respect. You did well tonight, Sebastian added. You kept your head. Didn't panic. That's rarer than you think. Lauren spent 4 hours in Sebastian's study preparing documents. That would look like compliance, but lay groundwork for undoing everything Marcus had forced through. At 3 a.m., she sent them to Marcus. Per your request, we'll implement immediately. She found Sebastian in the living room, standing by windows, watching the city. Can't sleep? He asked. No, you? I don't sleep much. Waste of time. They stood in silence, watching the city. What happens next? Lauren asked. You continue your work. I continue mine. And in 1 week, Marcus stops being a problem. And then you decide. New identity and fresh start. Or protection here. Either way, you're done with this. Standing there in Sebastian's apartment, Lauren understood she'd stopped being the person she'd been 6 months ago. That woman who valued safety above everything. She was gone. Maybe she'd never really existed. You should try to sleep, Sebastian said. Tomorrow's going to be complicated. Lauren returned to the guest room but didn't sleep. She lay in darkness, thinking about control and survival. About the fact that somewhere in the past months she'd stopped being just a victim. She was becoming something else. She just hadn't figured out what yet. Friday arrived. Lauren went to work. Maintained normal routine. Everything felt surreal. Colleagues discussing weekend plans while she knew that somewhere, Sebastian was orchestrating Marcus's removal. At 11:30, Harold appeared at her door, face ashen. Lauren, the police just called. Marcus Delacroix is missing. They want to interview you this afternoon. Lauren registered appropriate surprise. Missing? What happened? He failed to show up for meetings yesterday. His staff can't reach him. No one's accessed his apartment since Wednesday night. Harold's hands shook. They know he was connected to the waterfront project. They're interviewing everyone who had professional contact. I'll tell them the truth, that he was a consultant. Our interactions were professional. At 2 p.m., a lawyer named Vincent arrived, clearly sent by Sebastian. He guided Lauren through the police interview with surgical precision. The detectives asked about her relationship with Marcus. Lauren repeated the carefully prepared statements. Marcus had been a consultant. She'd interacted with him regarding permits. Their relationship was entirely professional. She had no knowledge of illegal activities. The interview lasted 90 minutes. By the end, the detectives seemed satisfied. Lauren was a professional with limited contact and no knowledge of Marcus's criminal enterprises. Outside, Vincent drove her back to her office. You did well. They have no reason to suspect you of anything beyond peripheral contact. Stay consistent with those statements. What if they find evidence connecting me? They won't. We've been thorough. Marcus kept records of his coercion of you. We've ensured those records are in the right hands. You're a victim, Miss Mitchell. Not a perpetrator. That night, Lauren was at Sebastian's apartment when his phone buzzed at 12:17 a.m. A single message appeared on screen. It's done. Lauren stared at those two words. Marcus Delacroix had ceased to be a problem. Had ceased to exist as anything more than a missing person. She should feel guilty. Should feel horror. Instead, she felt relieved. Lighter. You should sleep, Elena said quietly. Tomorrow will be busy. But Lauren didn't sleep. She sat by her window, thinking about choices and consequences. About the fact that she'd become someone who could accept murder as problem-solving. By morning, she still hadn't decided if that made her complicit or just realistic. The next 3 weeks passed in careful choreography. Lauren worked systematically through waterfront corrections, implementing changes under cover of routine safety updates. The police investigation into Marcus's disappearance slowly lost momentum. No body was found. No evidence of foul play discovered. Eventually, it was classified as just another missing person in a city that swallowed people regularly. Harold, now aware of the broader situation, provided cover when needed and asked no questions. Lauren found herself sleeping better. The constant tension that had defined her life for months gradually unwound. On Thursday of the third week, Sebastian called. Can you come to the apartment tonight? We need to discuss next steps. When she arrived, Sebastian had prepared dinner simple pasta, good wine. The waterfront corrections are nearly done, he said. Vincent tells me the legal situation is stable. It's time to discuss your next steps. I've been thinking. I could stay in New York, keep my job. You could! But it would never quite be your life again, would it? There would always be the knowledge. The risk that someday, someone might piece together more than they should. So you think I should leave? I think you should do what feels right. But yes, leaving would be cleaner. Safer. He paused. There's a position in Seattle. Architecture firm specializing in sustainable design. I can arrange an introduction. Clean background, excellent references. A fresh start. Lauren looked at the city visible through windows, at the life she'd built that had become tainted. I'll go to Seattle. Sebastian nodded. Vincent will handle paperwork. You can leave next week if you want. That fast? No reason to delay. After dinner, they sat with wine, watching city lights, and Lauren realized this was probably goodbye. Will you miss this? She asked. Having someone to protect? I always have people to protect. That's what I do. Sebastian's voice was dry. But will I miss you specifically? Yes, I think I will. The admission surprised them both. I'll miss you too, Lauren admitted. Which is bizarre considering you're a criminal, and I should want nothing to do with you. Life is rarely simple. He stood, moved to the window. Lauren, if you ever need anything, and I mean anything, you have ways to contact me. That doesn't expire when you leave, even though I won't be useful anymore. Even though. You were never just useful. That was never the point. She joined him at the window. Two people thrown together by circumstances, who'd somehow found strange trust in darkness. Thank you, she said. For saving my life. For protecting me. For giving me a way out. Thank you for trusting me enough to accept it. She left that night knowing it was goodbye even though neither said the word. Lauren's last week in New York was careful choreography. Vincent arranged every detail: resignation framed as exciting opportunity, mail forwarding, quiet closure of accounts. Harold took the news with mixed feelings. You're one of our best, Lauren. But I understand. After everything, he left it unfinished. I'll write you an outstanding reference. Thank you. For trusting me when things looked bad. You did right by those buildings. That's what matters. Her last day, colleagues took her to lunch, made small talk about Seattle rain. Promised to stay in touch in that way people do when they know they won't. Saturday, Lauren packed. Most furniture went to storage. She was taking only what fit in her car. Starting fresh meant letting go of physical anchors. Elena helped, silent and efficient. At one point, the older woman paused. Can I give you advice, Miss Mitchell? Please. Don't waste time feeling guilty about surviving. You did what you had to do. That's intelligence, not weakness. Elena met her eyes. And don't romanticize what happened. You were in a bad situation. Sebastian helped you out of it. But he's still what he is. You're better off making a clean break. You think I'm attracted to him. I think you're grateful. And sometimes gratitude feels like other things. Just make sure you know the difference. Sunday afternoon, Sebastian called. I'm sending a car. One last meeting. The car took her outside the city to a manor house in rolling countryside. Sebastian was waiting on the steps in jeans and a sweater. Less urban predator, more human. Welcome to one of my other properties. I thought you should see that I exist outside the city sometimes. The house was beautiful old wood, comfortable furniture, walls lined with books. Fires crackling. The kind of place that felt lived in. This is where you come to hide? This is where I come to remember there's more to life than the work I do. Sebastian led her to a study overlooking gardens. I wanted you to see it before you left. To understand that survival doesn't mean living in perpetual darkness. They spent the afternoon walking grounds, talking about things that had nothing to do with danger. Books, places to travel, small human concerns that felt alien after recent intensity. As sunset, Sebastian led her to a garage. Inside was a sensible sedan. This is yours, for the drive to Seattle. Clean title, no connections to me. He handed her keys. There's an envelope in the glove compartment. Cash for your trip. A new phone, prepaid, untraceable. And a number you can call if you ever need anything. Emergency use only. Sebastian, I can't. You can. Because arguing would be tedious. He met her eyes. Just live well. That's thanks enough. They stood in the garage as light faded. I should go. Long drive ahead. Yes, you should. But Sebastian didn't move. Lauren, if you ever need to disappear again, if Seattle doesn't work out, that number in the envelope. Use it. No questions asked. You can't protect me forever. No. But I can make sure you have options. Lauren surprised herself by hugging him. Sebastian stiffened, clearly not someone who tolerated physical contact easily, then returned the embrace with awkward care. Thank you, she whispered, for seeing me as more than just a problem to solve. Thank you for trusting me enough to let me help. Lauren drove away from the manor house as sun finished setting. In her rearview mirror, Sebastian stood in the driveway, silhouette against fading light, watching her leave. Ensuring she got away safely. The drive to Seattle took 4 days. Small motels. Diners where no one knew her. Each mile was decompression, slowly releasing pressure. She thought about Marcus, the way he trapped her with fear. The relief knowing he was gone. She thought about Sebastian, the cold pragmatism that saved her. The moments of almost humanity that showed he was more than just the monster he presented. And she thought about herself. About the woman she'd been who valued safety above everything. And the woman she was now who understood survival sometimes required compromising with darkness. Who'd discovered she was stronger than she'd imagined. By the time she reached Seattle, Lauren had made peace with what she'd become. Not innocent. Not a victim. Not a criminal. Just someone who'd navigated an impossible situation and emerged with her life intact. The architecture firm was exactly what she needed. Smaller, more focused on sustainable design. Her colleagues were welcoming but not intrusive. The work was challenging but not overwhelming. She found an apartment in Capitol Hill with water views, started running mornings, joined a gym. Slowly built a life that felt like it belonged to her. 3 months in, her emergency phone buzzed. "Lauren, it's Vincent. The waterfront project has been completed. All your corrections were implemented successfully. Buildings are structurally sound. No issues flagged." Relief washed through her. "I wanted you to know your work likely saved hundreds of lives. That matters. Thank you for telling me. One more thing. Marcus Delacroix's death has been officially ruled gang violence. Case closed. You're completely clear. The nightmare is officially over. Vincent, thank Sebastian for me. I will. Live well, Miss Mitchell." After Vincent's call, Lauren sat by her window watching Seattle rain, processing final closure. The buildings were safe. She was safe. The past was actually past. She should feel triumphant. Instead, she just felt tired, grateful, ready to finally move forward without looking over her shoulder. That evening, she took the emergency phone and envelope Sebastian had given her and locked them in a bank safe deposit box. Not throwing them away, she was too pragmatic, but putting them somewhere they wouldn't tempt her to maintain connection with that chapter. 6 months after leaving New York, Lauren's new life had solidified. She had friends carefully selected, kept at appropriate distance. She had work that mattered. She had a routine that felt sustainable. And occasionally, late at night, she thought about Sebastian, about whether he kept his word to let her go cleanly, about whether he ever thought of her or if she'd just been another problem solved, another temporary obligation. She hoped he thought of her sometimes. Hoped he remembered there had been something genuine between them, even if neither could name it. But mostly she hoped he was well. Hoped that whatever darkness he navigated, he found moments of peace like she was finding. 1 year after leaving, Lauren received a package at her office, no return address. Inside was a first edition of a book she'd mentioned loving during that last afternoon at the manor house. A note tucked in front, in elegant handwriting. "You asked me once if I'd miss you. The answer is yes. More than I expected. Less than you deserve. Live well, Lauren. That's all I ever wanted for you." Lauren sat with the book for a long time, running fingers over the cover, reading the note again and again, understanding this was closure. That Sebastian had kept track just long enough to know she was thriving, to send this final acknowledgement that what they'd shared had mattered. And then, she knew, he'd let her go completely. Because that's what you did for people you cared about, in whatever limited way men like Sebastian could care. You protected them. You helped them escape. And then you let them build lives that had nothing to do with your darkness. Lauren put the book on her shelf between 2 others. A memory, a reminder, a testament to the strange year when she'd learned that survival could look like many things. That protection could come from unexpected sources. That sometimes the most dangerous people could offer the safest harbor. That night, she stood at her window watching Seattle rain, thinking about New York in darkness, and the man who'd saved her life, while claiming it was just efficient problem-solving. "Thank you," she whispered to the empty room. "For everything. For seeing me. For protecting me. For letting me go." The city lights blurred in rain. The past was past. The future was hers to build. And Lauren Mitchell, survivor of dangers she'd never expected to face, architect of structures both physical and personal, was ready to build something beautiful on the foundation of everything she'd learned. She'd been through fire. She'd emerged tempered rather than destroyed. And that was worth more than any safety she'd once imagined she needed. 2 years after leaving New York, Lauren stood in a Seattle gallery at the opening of an exhibition featuring architectural innovations in sustainable design. Her project, a low-income housing development that prioritized both safety and community, was featured prominently. A colleague approached with champagne. "Lauren, this is incredible. You should be so proud." She was, not just of the building but of how she'd gotten here. Through darkness. Through compromise. Through learning that strength came in forms she'd never expected. Her phone buzzed, her regular phone. not the emergency one locked away.
A text from an unknown number. Saw the article about your Seattle project. Impressive work.
Some people deserve to escape the darkness. You're proof it's possible. Stay safe free. Stay free. S. Lauren smiled. Typed back, thank you, for everything. I hope you find your own version of freedom someday.
The response came immediately. I already did.
The day I watched you drive away. Then nothing. The number would probably be disconnected already. Sebastian was nothing if not careful. But the message remained. A reminder that what they'd shared, however strange, however circumstantial, had mattered to both of them.
Some connections were forged in darkness but pointed toward light.
Some debts could never be repaid, only honored by living well. And sometimes, the most dangerous love was the one that saved your life and then set you free. Lauren never saw Sebastian again.
But she never forgot him either. How could she?
He'd shown her that strength came in many forms. That protection didn't always look like what you expected. That sometimes the person who saved you was also the person you had to walk away from. She was safe now. Free. Building a life that belonged entirely to her.
And somewhere in New York, in the shadows where he lived, Mafia Boss Sebastian watched from a distance and knew that of all the problems he'd ever solved,
Lauren Mitchell's freedom was the one he was most proud of. Because some people deserve to escape the darkness, even when they've spent time dancing with devils who live there. Lauren raised her champagne glass to the gallery, to the people celebrating sustainable architecture and community building, to the life she'd built from ashes. And silently, she raised it to the man in shadows who'd given her the chance to build it. To Sebastian, to freedom. To the strange mathematics of survival that sometimes required accepting help from the most unexpected sources. She'd been a witness to something she shouldn't have seen. That witnessing had trapped her. But it had also, paradoxically, freed her. Shown her she was stronger than she'd known. Capable of more than she'd imagined. Worthy of protection even when she felt most vulnerable. The past was past. The darkness was behind her. And the light ahead, the life she was building, the safety she'd earned, the freedom she'd fought for was entirely her own. That was worth every compromise, every moment of fear, every dance with danger. She was Lauren Mitchell, architect, survivor, free woman. And she'd earned every single piece of that identity. Sometimes the witness becomes the survivor. Sometimes the protected becomes the free. And sometimes, the most dangerous man in the city is the one who teaches you that you're stronger than you ever knew.